Hello everyone, my name is Afton Shabbat, Marketing Manager for Seedmaster Manufacturing. I'd like to start by welcoming you all to our Nova Series 2 virtual event, Increasing Accuracy on Your Farm. Today we're going to talk you through our new completely re-engineered Nova Series 2, but before we get started and I pass you over to our speakers, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. Over the course of the webinar, we will be accepting questions using the Q&A icon down at the bottom of your screen. We're happy to take your questions at any time. All you have to do is click the icon, type your question, and press the submit button. If you prefer, there's also an option to make your question anonymous. Depending on the amount of questions we receive today, we may not be able to get to all of them, but we will definitely do our best to address what we can in the time we have. For those questions that are unanswered, we will follow up with you after the webinar as long as your question is not submitted anonymously. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you to our speakers today. Greg Vinard is the Director of Operations and Engineering at Seedmaster, as well as one of the masterminds behind the Nova Series 2. Greg has been with Seedmaster for 17 years and has played a significant role in the design work for Seedmaster from the very beginning. Our other speaker is Rich Maisonneuve. Rich and his wife Jayla own and operate Peace Country Equipment, a short-line equipment dealership in the Alberta Peace Country. At Peace Country Equipment, Rich has been a huge supporter of the Seedmaster product line, and his dealership offers exceptional service and support for their valued customers. Today, we plan to take you through a few different items relating to the Nova Series 2. We're going to talk about the conceptualization of the Nova and its history, what prompted the redesign of the Nova, or why Series 2, an overview of the upgrades we've made, the Nova from the perspective of our dealerships, the benefits of the Nova from the farmer perspective, and the big picture on how the Nova ties in with the rest of our Seedmaster product line. With that, I'll turn you over to Greg Vinard to get us started.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Afton, and happy birthday. So I'll start with a bit of the history and where Nova has come from. And really what it was is Norbert coming to us and saying, what would I want if we develop an air cart? So the key items are that he came with. Ease of use is important. Seed safety is important. Accuracy of the delivery is important. And it must work well with our on-frame UP2 metering. So in ease of use, the hydraulic lids is a big part of the ease of use. Having the lids automatically open when you go to the start filling saves you a step up, a trip up to the top of the tanks. Load cells, you make sure you know how much product is in the tank. No roller changes is a key thing to make it easy to use, and having robust walkways that are nice and wide and comfortable. Accuracy, we have 10 zones of metering, which really changes or increases our resolution within our overlap control. Our section control is easy to use, and our isolated air streams ensure that we're not contaminating either side or either product flow with product we don't want going in the wrong place. And with our on-frame tanks, we're looking for high capacity of fertilizer application and also low rate accuracy. So with all of that is what we use some of that criteria or all of that criteria to develop the air cart. And what we have, what went right, of course, is load cells are the standard on a lot of machines now, both ours and competitors. Hydraulic lids really ensure that there's not lid leaks. Everyone knows the repercussions of lid leaks. And with the hydraulics, you just don't forget to get them closed. And of course the walkways continue to be low slung. That we really like that, in that you're not standing on top of the tank, and the safety part of it is important to us all the time. So why Series 2? Any new product requires ongoing improvements. ISO is a new development within agriculture, and a lot of tractors, if not all new tractors, have monitors that can control the drill. So the ISO controls is a big part of it, and continually improving the performance of the machines really speaks to improving the efficiency of the farm. And the more efficient that farm is, the more profitable it is. Therefore, that's our intent, is to help them be more profitable. So you spoke and we listened. Sorry, that's the next slide. Seedmaster is still a small family-owned company wanting to lead innovation in agriculture. We work hard to keep things simple, but yet be innovative in everything we do. So we take customer and dealer input into everything that we do within our engineering team. The family has committed to doing that, and with that, we've built an excellent engineering team with recent expansion up to 8 total, and they're all taking this NOVA project head on, and working hard to make sure that we're as leading edge as possible. So what's new within Series 2? We'll go right into the biggest improvement, which is the meter box. Within the meter box, there's been a number of changes recently. With improved bushings, housing seals, and bearings. So the key takeaways from this is that the idler, I don't know if you can see in the video here, the idler stays engaged with the drive sprocket, even when it's disengaged from the roller drive. Just watching the video, but it stays engaged, which is important in ensuring that there's not skips and gaps within the portions of the field that are using zone control. The drive gears, all of the drive gears now run on bearings, and in the past it's been bushings. That's been changed to bearings. The roller seals and bushings within the roller itself are all improved and redesigned. And the air cylinder itself is also got improved seals and wipers. Doing all of that changing, we still don't require roller changing from switching from product to product. On hydraulic lids, an update that's done there is that we used to require the operator to select the highest pressure fan circuit to run the lids. We used to require the operator to control that. We now automatically do that so that there's not that requirement of remembering to switch. It automatically selects the highest pressure and uses that circuit to open and close the lids. The Zone Command air system has seen a number of improvements. More specifically, both sides of the air cylinder are filtered. So all of the air going into the cylinder and on both sides is filtered. The tank itself has an auto drain. Normal maintenance would have you draining that all the time. With the auto drain, it's a float style system that automatically dumps the water out of the reservoir. And the incoming air filter is quite a bit larger, and we've routed the incoming air from the cleanest possible location that we can. The airstream switching, the improvement there is that the plug itself is more reliable. It's still a manual process to switch from the run, or the tank from seed run to fertilizer run and vice versa, but it's still the most secure to make sure that you're isolating those two airstreams. And then the fans. As far as our fans, we're very low capacity as far as oil requirements. Probably lowest oil requirements in the industry, which is an important piece. And we've maintained that our motor be mounted outside of the fan housing. Then we know that if there is a failure of the motor, that oil doesn't enter into this airstream, which is, again, if anybody's had that happen, you know why that's important. Then overall fit and finish. The ladders and walkways, we've worked hard to make sure they're nice and usable, comfortable, and nice and wide and easy to be on. The tanks themselves are thicker. The wall thickness of the tanks are thicker, and we've added an internal ladder system to the tanks that both supports the tanks but also gives the operators a means of getting to the bottom of the tank, inside and to the bottom of the tank. Decals have been improved for the user experience, showing things like greasing requirements and explaining the air selection. We've increased the axle strength and the capacity of the axle, both by increasing the strength of the wheel, increasing the weight rating or load rating of the tire, and adding clamping rings onto the hub mount. All of that, also in doing all of these fit and finish things, we always want to make sure that the machine still looks good as it's going up and down the field. That's all I've got for now, and I'll pass you off to Rich, and don't hesitate to ask us a few questions. But to you, Rich.
Thanks, Greg. Hey guys, thanks for having me today. So yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of history about myself, I guess here. So I farmed up until 2015. I had started farming in the late 90s with on the family farm, and then started farming my own land in the early 2000s. I guess the way I ended up being a Seedmaster dealer is in 2008. I was taking on a big chunk of pasture land, and I was looking for a drill with a narrow opener, but still having the, not going into something like a disc, right? So I decided on the Seedmaster drill, and we took the machine that year and seeded 2,500 acres into 20 to 30-year-old pasture. And then that year, Seedmaster asked me if I would be a part of the Master Seeders panel to discuss my experience with the drill, what I had done. And then from there, the relationship just kind of grew, and they asked if we'd be interested in becoming a dealer. So in 2008, we became a dealer, and then continued farming on until 2015, when we decided to move out of farming and but stay in the ag industry and just grow the dealership. So that's kind of how we ended up being where we are now. So myself and my wife Jayla run the dealership, and yeah, it's been really great. So So I just want to do kind of a walkthrough. I want to start from the front of the Nova and kind of work our way through it. So I'm going to start off right at the front with the pintle hitch. Obviously, the benefit there, you've got ease of maneuverability. You know, if you need to back up, of course, that's a lot simpler than if you've got front axle with tires or steering tires. Moving through from that, the Nova is built on a really heavy duty frame design. So you have a lot of strength there on the base of the machine. Moving forward, we've always been running the dual 710s on there, but we've gone to a higher load rating on the duals and increased the rim disc strength by 60%. So that's another thing that we kind of address there. Being poly tanks, of course, it's very nice, rust-free conditions, and you can see the product through it, which is kind of handy at times. Moving on from there, I'm going to talk about, I guess, fan capacity. So the S3 fans are a very large capacity fan, but don't require a large amount of hydraulic oil to run them. At max output, each S3 fan would demand 14 gallons per minute if you're running it flat out, compared to, you know, maybe up into the 20-25 to competitor fans. The reason for this is they work under a basis of pressure instead of flow, which saves a lot on the hydraulic demand. Then the sectional control, it's also a very simple system. It's an electric over air. So it allows for pretty low maintenance and trouble-free system. We can offer 10-zone sectional control on the Nova carts. On-farm maintenance, of course, after seeding, it's always crucial, even though this is a stainless steel system and a fairly low maintenance system. I mean, proper cleaning and lubrication and all that at the end of the seeding season is always important. So the new updates for 2021 will help improve the life of the seals and bushings, along with lowering the risk of sectional zones not engaging, maybe due to poor system maintenance. Having said that, it's not a get out of jail free card. Maintenance is still vital, as we all know. I'm going to move on now to like filling and calibration of the machine. So being that the opening of the tanks, the lids, it's a large opening, so filling is very easy. As Greg had mentioned, the lids work they're an auto lid. So basically the way this works, when you stop to fill your drill, you reverse your hydraulic circuit that's running the fans and your lids automatically open. So that's a very, very handy thing. You don't have to jump up there, open them up, and then if the opening isn't large enough, you're trying to, you know, line up your fill auger or whatnot. So once you're done filling and you hop back into the tractor and you just engage your fans, that circuit closes those lids again, seals them under hydraulic pressure. So you can't forget your lid. We've all done it. We've all been there. You forget to latch it or you don't do it quite right. So this takes care of a lot of those issues, and it's a feature that's been by far one of my favorites on the machines. So just important that people are really aware of how good of a feature that is. Just take a look here. Yeah, so once you're filled up, when we're talking about calibration, all your calibrations can be done right at ground level. You have a remote console there, so you can access your scale weights while you're filling, and then do all your calibrations per tank. So you don't have to run back and forth to the tractor to do that and whatnot. We also have an option, a thing you can use called applied product calibration. So your applied product calibration, once you've done a catch test and you take off to go seeding, you start this in the background and you can go and seed 10, 20, 30, 100 acres. What this is going to do is it's just going to keep track of the product used divided by the acres seeded, and then it's going to compare to what the rate controller thinks that it put out. So when you do this, what this does is it just guarantees that once you're in operation mode, you've put pressure to the tank and you're moving the product around. It'll fine tune and dial in that rate. It's also a really great thing throughout the day. You can run it, once or twice a day just to make sure that, there's no issues going on in the metering, whether it be powder fertilizer that's bridging and maybe reducing your rate. So it's a really handy tool. Once guys get really comfortable using the applied product calibration on heavy products like fertilizer and wheat and peas, you can put your starting calibration number in from the Seedmaster app on your phone, and you can start the applied product calibration, go seed, 15, 20 acres, stop the applied product calibration, and dial in that cal number. Now that's something whenever we're teaching new customers to run the machine, we always make sure that they really take the time to learn to do the catch test to make sure. But most guys, once they're comfortable on heavy products, they're not even doing catch tests anymore. So it's something that works extremely well, saves a lot of time. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Nova benefits. So the Nova metering, this is the heart of the Nova. It's a very simple and effective system. Again, all stainless components. Being a wide body tank, the access for calibration and service is really, really good. I've been around a lot of tanks in the industry, and it's sometimes very hard to get in there and work on anything. So this design is very nice. Just want to take a look here. There's a couple questions. So what is the most notable improvement on the Nova Series 2? Maybe we'll just answer a couple of these here. I guess most notable improvement, myself, and I'll have Greg kind of hop in there also. I would say, probably what they've done here recently with the sectional control, the way it's going to pull itself into the system, I think is going to work really well, along with what they've done as far as bushings and seals and whatnot. Greg, is there something else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would agree. The meter box is really the most notable change in the Series 2. It's been an extensive development. From the street, it doesn't look like it's a lot different, but in reality, it is substantially different. We've done extensive testing and have improvements in the order of 6 times in lifespan. So yes, it's by far the most notable improvement.
Yeah, for sure. I agree also. And I think, hopefully with what we're going through here also, there's other features on the Nova that we've had around for a long time, but I guess people just maybe aren't aware of them yet. So again, the fact that we're using a lot less oil for our fans and the hydraulic lids and all that is really really important stuff.
Rich, can you comment on how common conveyors are in your part of the world?
Yeah, I was taking a look at that one. So yeah, for the most part, I'd say probably 95% of the drills that standard drills that are being ordered, guys aren't taking the conveyor option. They're deciding to either go with a tender unit or using a big yard conveyor or something like that. They've just found that with the cost of a conveyor that's attached to the system, and for the most part, they're still not the fastest. Guys are deciding to put that money towards a tender unit or a yard conveyor, fill faster, and have something maybe they can use year round, right? Let's take a look here. So I'll just keep going here on the Nova Series 2 metering benefits. So in all the years I've been around the Nova carts, I've been really impressed with the ability that it has to handle all types of products. I've seen it even when we get really dusty fertilizer or fertilizer that was excessively oiled. It seems to handle it without any issues. We don't see it's rare we see bridging or gumming up of meters, so it's been a really impressive metering system. So now I'd like to just kind of go over the whole big picture of everything. The Nova cart, the way it ties into the rest of the Seedmaster systems is pretty important. From the Nova, the delivery system has been developed in a way that really accentuates both of them together, like accentuates how good the Nova is. So from the Nova cart, we're going into form primaries. So we're using a lot of steel pipe in the bends and giving it kind of an extra loop to get close to equal length distribution, which also helps in keeping that row to row variance down. It's a very, very, very clean system. Something that I like a lot. Instead of having a bunch of hoses twisted and laying everywhere, they've done a really good job designing this. From the distribution, we're going into the towers. So Seedmaster incorporates an all stainless distribution tower, which provides long lasting life to the towers. From the towers, we go down to the opener. So from the towers, the Seedmaster opener has been an industry leading opener for quite a long time. It offers the optimal placement and separation of the seed and fertilizer, while still having that low soil disturbance. So this will allow for pretty high rates of fertilizer while maintaining your seed safety. So your fertilizer is placed 3/4 inches below and 3/4 inches to the side of the seed, so 1.5 inches lateral separation. Tying backwards from there, from the opener back, we look at our UP2 metering system. So it's been a really big part of Seedmaster system for a while. For years, Seedmaster incorporated the Valmar metering style system, but in 16, I believe, Seedmaster, they redesigned the system in-house and improved it significantly. It's much simpler and cleaner meter design. You no longer need to do adjustments on the meter depending on product. You used to have to adjust for your gap on the I guess original Valmar style. So now with this system, you have one course meter for your large products, and then you have your Ultra Pro meter for your canola and your inoculant. This metering system also allows for extremely precise and gentle metering direct from the meter to the opener. So essentially, it provides individual row metering with a low row-to-row variance of 3%. Being that it's an onboard, the distance from the meter to the opener requires really low requirements to distribute the seed, low air requirements. So that's going to reduce your bounce and potential damage. Separating the seed from the fertilizer within your whole distribution system is pretty key to seed survivability. The UP2 will also give you the benefits of lowering your canola seeding rates due to the reduced seed damage and mortality, along with still maintaining incredible seed separation. On average, my customers, they're anywhere from 1 to 1.5 pounds an acre of canola seed savings over, a competitive bulk metering system. So whether it's canola or large seed, your linear seed separation within the row is unmatched in the industry unless you're using something like a planter, which can bring in limitations and increase costs. I just want to check if there's any questions. We're good. So the UP2, being that it's a non-pressurized gravity-fed system, also addresses other issues such as bridging and potential air leaks, which can cause a lot of different seed metering issues. So again, like the Nova system, the UP2 onboard is a 10-zone sectional control system. So these two systems complement one another very well. And if you want to double shoot from the Nova into your seed boot, then you would have that seed product line would join into the seed knife with a double boot chamber. Just looking at questions. Have you seen static as an issue on the plastic meters? Myself, I haven't seen that be an issue. Greg, I don't know if that's something that you guys have run into.
No, it's not been an issue as to my understanding for sure. Static is often a concern in anything that's plastic, tanks, meters, anything like that. But we are attached to the ground pretty often, and any kind of static buildup usually dissipates itself quite well.
Right, right. Yeah. Another question here, how much adjustment do the rollers need? So just to kind of jump back into that, on your UP2, there is no adjustments to the rollers. You have a coarse roller for your large products, your fertilizer, large seeds, and then your UP2 canola meter, which is the narrow disc. So if you're using a tank and you're putting down an S15 product, and then that large onboard tank's going to go to peas or wheat or whatnot, it's the same roller that just stays in there. Just change your cal number and that's it.
And the same is true in the Nova, in that we have one roller, and it's not a changeable roller, doesn't require any adjustments. The only difference to that would be that we can set up one tank with what we call a low rate roller, which will limit the top end capacity but give you a lower bottom end. But both rollers are don't require adjustment and aren't really changeable.
Yeah, exactly. And so even going back to when I farmed and I had a Seedmaster toolbar and a Nova cart, from my years experience before, that was a really nice positive, right? When you don't have to monkey around with rollers or metering plates to change the gap between the roller and whatnot, depending on products. So very user-friendly system. All right, so now I want to take a look at, I guess, the overall operations of the machine. So now we're talking about your control systems, your monitors. Operating the whole system that we've been discussing here is very, very simple. So Seedmaster systems are an ISO plug and play, which makes cab setup quick and clean. You connect at your ICBC plug at the hitch, and then you can tie into the John Deere A post. Or if you have a case New Holland, you tie into the B post behind the seat. From there, you can run the system on the Raven Viper 4 monitor, or you can screen share portions of it, whether it's a toolbar page or product page, onto 2630 or 4640. Operating it solely through a John Deere monitor is possible, just depending on the number of products and zones that your system has. Most guys still decide to run the Viper in the cab, so they'll leave their products up on the Viper and screen share their toolbar page to their tractor monitor so it's quickly available at all times. If a guy is running an armrest JD monitor, also you can share through all 3 screens or possibly even 4 screens. So there's lots of options, different ways that you can set it up. The screen share is doable through the case monitors also, but they do lack the ability to run the drills on their own. The new Pro 1200 monitor should be able to handle things. The TMX also would work for full drill operations. We tested it last winter in our shop, and it worked 100%.
Rich, there is a
ahead.
question. Sorry to interrupt you, Rich, but there is a question
fine,
about
Greg.
if we can run 4640 can do the same as the Raven system. Can you take that?
Yeah, so I haven't played with the 4640 yet. The 2630, from my experience, works. The 4640, I was talking with a couple of guys at Seedmaster, and from what I remember, I think everything was running fine on the 4640. So that's something that we can confirm, but I'm pretty sure that there was no issues there.
The other question that we have still is how do you empty out the Nova? Kind of a change in subject here from
Sure.
controls, but just to answer the question, the clean out is through the bottom of the meter box, and the product falls through from the meter box through the delivery pipes to a hopper or conveyor underneath the machine. Rich, did you want to add anything more to that?
Yeah, and like, I guess going back, because it's a wide body, I've had the question asked where, guys will say, well, what if I have to empty out for whatever reason? Yeah, it's more difficult than, kind of a narrow body design. I think where a lot of guys are coming from is, if they put the wrong amount of product in the tank and then they got to remove some when they're trying to finish a field. So again, when you're incorporating scales, it's an issue that you don't really run into, right? I mean, if you got 60 acres left, you put what you need and that's it, right? So it's pretty rare that I've seen guys have to empty out a tank for whatever reason. There's not really ever a reason to do that, but if you do have to, you can access, my experience, the half of the box is from one side, half from the other, right? So look, there's another question here. How is the accuracy of the scales on the Nova tanks? In my experience, they're extremely accurate. I would say they're easily within 1% or 2%. Greg, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would agree. The load cells maintain accuracy quite well, even while moving. They are more accurate if you're sitting still, but not enough that you would definitely concern about. But yeah, within that 10% mark for sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll give a good example. So when I was farming, my drill had 300 bushel on board, and I would do my cereals, my peas, and then I would go into my canola. And I was never scared to, or did I ever experience seeing my scales vary a lot throughout loading them, and then as the product drained down. So I would load up that tank to do 3,000 acres of canola. And when I would finish my 3,000 acres, my scales were still reading what should be in the tank. So I didn't experience any kind of variance throughout time. I guess is another good thing about that. I'm just going to hop back into the operation side of things. This is a part of the machine that I'm a huge fan of. So basically, the whole system is going to operate through a foot pedal, which is supplied with the machine, or some guys decide to put a switch on their tractor console. So the way it works is your opener hydraulic circuit is on all the time, same as your system pressure and your fan. So what I mean by that is usually your openers, that's in the neutral position, and the guys lift and lower with that, right? So what Seedmaster did is they incorporated a smart opener block, which is an electric over hydraulic system. So when you hit the foot switch, the opener is engaged to the target packing force setting, and the product turns on based on the sectional control. At the end of the field, when you hit that foot switch again, your openers lift and your product turns off. So there's no extra remotes or buttons to hit, just a really simply operated through that one foot switch. So you engage your GPS, hit the switch and go and turn around, hit the switch and come back, right? So there's no fiddling, and it's very, very nice to run. I think that was it for me there, Greg. So we have a question here. Are you still struggling to meter large size products for your Nova boxes, peas, beans, for example? So I know that that's been addressed. It was addressed a while ago. Greg, I'll let you jump on that.
Yeah, some of the issues in the past were to do with those larger seeds getting jammed between the end of the roller and the wall of the box. With the changes in the box, there's protection around that area, and those seeds can't get into a jam situation. The clearance between the box and the roller is quite small now. Yeah, the bigger product hasn't been an issue.
Okay. Yeah, and
Another
that's what I've seen also. Just hopping back, the question about the 4640. So yeah, I did get an answer on that. So if you're running with 1 RCM, you can run the 4640.
good. Thanks, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
And then another question is, what capacity do they come in? So there's a few different sizes, of course. We have 2, 3, 4, and 5 product capacities. They range from 520 bushels all the way up to 820 bushels total.
Okay, another question here with the sectional control, overlap control. Do you have any idea what kind of savings you have experienced on average, even on a square field? Um, on a dry year, guys are still seeing 5 to 7%. They feel like a lot of that overlap is coming from going in and out of their headlands, not turning product on and off at the right time. I've seen on a field that's not square, I've seen as high as 15, 16%. And if it's a really wet year, I've seen over 20%. So again, the variability is going to be on field size, potholes, conditions and stuff like that. I would feel safe to say that the average is 7 to 10%, pretty easy.
There's another question here, Rich. I'll let you answer it as more of a user, but is it frustrating to have the on-frame tank and the Nova tank as 2 different systems like that? I'd like to hear your input on that as far as a user.
Yeah, sure. No, I wouldn't look at it as frustrating in any way. I think a lot of people might look at the onboard and at first they kind of feel, well, it looks different, it looks complicated, but really it's not. If you have a conveyor on the Nova, you can fill that onboard with that conveyor. So that's not an issue there. I'm trying to think of other stuff that guys might feel is difficult about them. I find they work really well together. I mean, it's not complicated. Like it's 2 different types of metering systems, but they're both very simple, right? I mean, once you see it work once, it's not an issue. Calibrating the onboard is really easy too. You catch out of one section, and then that cal number is applied to the whole tank. I'm a huge fan of the onboard metering. The seed savings and precision of it is well worth everything. So
yeah, from our perspective, it is a different looking system than the norm. The reason that it is that way is that we want to individually meter product into individual air streams that don't go through a secondary division on the machine. Seed safety is unmatched within this system, as well as row to row accuracy.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if we're looking at the benefits of that seed savings, I guess you can get used to the look eventually. It's not I get also that, yeah, there's a bit of a different look, but once guys see the machine work and see how that metering works, they're usually pretty impressed and don't look back. So. Another question here. It says here, the Series 2 looks great, but have you done anything for existing Nova owners?
I can take that. I guess we do have a rework program in motion for older machines, and there's an ability to update those older machines to the Series 2 level, more specifically in the meter box. So yeah, there is a program in place, and you can contact TMs to learn more about that.
Yeah, I think it'd be
or to the
safe.
dealer for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty safe to say. I mean, a lot of the things that we talked about on the Nova today have been around for a while. I mean, our big changes. You know, we're looking at some of this metering stuff and whatnot. So I think guys can upgrade that and feel pretty confident.
The question is, how long is the rework program last? The rework program does have a bit of a the program only runs for a year, and we encourage people to talk to us in that timeline if they're interested in doing the updates.
I was just going to touch real quick also, I guess, looking at the whole machine overall, you know, with our transport options, our compact transport options and the pintle hitch on the Nova, you know, it really lends to pretty easy transport and maneuverability and moving around. The 70-foot machine has been a really common one. It's a nice, you know, narrow and low system. So.
There's a question, is there a rework for the canola tank meters too, for older canola tank Valmar Star meters? No, the 2 meters, comparing a Valmar system to the current UP2, which I believe is the question, those 2 aren't compatible. They're not interchangeable components. Hopefully that's the answer. It's not the answer you're looking for, but hopefully you understand that. Is there any other questions? Anything else from Rich?
No, I think I flapped my gums enough there. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to add.
I think one question came in here for you guys. What is the availability like for spring 2021?
Overall,
yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Overall, we do have production space left at this point. It is filling up, so we encourage people to talk to TMs and dealers. Make sure that you get your questions answered. Right now, I can say that we can get some Novas out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap everything up. Thank you all very much for attending. We're glad you were able to be with us today. We will have a recording that we'll send out to all of you if you'd want to rewatch the webinar and revisit some of the points. Thank you very much, Greg, and thank you, Rich. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.